Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you very much, Cindy, and also Christine for your support. So today we're going to talk about trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and I want to welcome all of you for being here and attending to this webinar. For before starting with this presentation, I just want to thank to all mental health service providers that are there now working from telehealth, using telehealth and working from home. And there have been so many changes through the last year, right? That I just want to thank you all. And also, I just want to take like 30 seconds. We can do like a self-care and activity, just look at the look at how beautiful is the sky, the beach. This is a picture from Puerto Rico. I just want you to take just 30 minutes deep breathing, or just imagine yourself in front of the beach and just try to relax before we can start. Okay. Great. Thank you for taking that moment. I think that as mental health providers that work with trauma like almost every day, we need to double our self-care, right? And more in this moment. So thank you for taking that break. I think this is it is important, and it is part of our self-care. We can go to the next slide. For today, we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna explain the different TF-CBT components, but more, I will focus more on the cultural factors that we need to include in every component. Also, I will be sharing with you the case of a 6-year-old girl that her her family is from El Salvador, but she was born in United States. And I hope that using this case is it will help you to understand a little bit more how to include the cultural elements throughout the TF-CBT. And throughout the presentation also, I will be sharing with you different resources or recommendations that I have been applying, or I think that are helpful, so you can also continue to enhance those skills when you're working with Latinx or Hispanic clients and families. So TF-CBT is the primary goal is to reduce PTSD symptoms. Sometimes we have clients that don't necessarily have PTSD, but have like trauma-related symptoms. And this model could be implemented in schools. It could be implemented in a private office, and also it could be implemented using telehealth. Usually it consists from 12 to 16 sessions, but when we present cases that are more complex, it could take longer. Sometimes it could take like 18 to 25 sessions. It depends on the complex of the case that we are working with. So one of the things that I will say thank you to Michael D'Arellano to talk about the modifications to this model, because this is a model that is an evidence-based model, and it has helped a lot of Latinos that experience PTSD and other traumatic experiences. So this model, this intervention is used with kids since 4 years old until 18 years old. And what Dr. Ayano did is that he talked about the different cultural elements that are really important to add when we are providing the services to our Latinx communities. And we know that culture, identity, and culture, it is an important topic that we need to address when we are providing services. I will say not only to Latinos, but other cultures too, other cultural groups. And culture provide a sense of belonging. Culture helps us understand how we express our emotions, how we express when something is not good, when something is bothering us. So we explain that using a specific words that are related to our culture. And also, I will be explaining some of the main cultural things that could be present in our Latino clients. But I want to say that we don't want to kind of profiling that these are the cultural values that every Latino present, because it's not true. These are some of the cultural values that we need to address and we need to explore with our clients and check it out if our clients are presenting these values, or if our clients' family are presenting some of these values, because this, if we can include them, if we can talk about them, they will increase treatment outcomes. It will increase also our engagement, the engagement of the clients in the therapy process. So what are the therapeutic elements that can help to, to be aware of, right? We can go to the next slide. So the engagement will start since you made that first call, right? Since we call the client and say, hi, my name is Isa, my name is Alejandra. So the engagement starts since the first phone call that you're making, or since the person went to the office to ask for the services, right? So establish the need of care. Engagement strategies. These are the engagement strategies that usually we need to be really aware when we are doing the first call or the first contact with our client, because sometimes when the client does not know the reason why the school referred them to have TF-CBT treatment, so they will say, I don't need it, I don't know what I'm here, or sometimes they were court order, so they will not understand the reason why they need to have this type of treatment. So it is important to take our time to explain and establish the necessity of mental health care and what mental health care means. And I always say, like, take extra time to talk to Latinx clients about what is mental health, what means having difficulties at home, at school, what it looks like, and how kids can improve their behavior and also be more mentally healthy if they can start a therapy, right? And the next one is says, caregivers motivational for treatment. We need to take out the verbatims from the client, from the moms or the father of their caregivers, right? Because sometimes they can say words like, este chico se porta mal, this kid like is misbehaving every time, like, no escucha, he doesn't listen for what I'm saying. So you can take that and include it in that process when we're doing psychoeducation about mental health treatment. And you say, okay, is this something that you're going to work with? Are there things that you tried before that work for you, so he can listen to you? So those are the things that we need to really be aware, so we can continue to increase the engagement. And also check out if the client and the family need like services around the community, just like if they need social work services, if they need furniture at their houses, if they need of internet that we need that so much right now, right? If their family have internet in their houses, if they can have like a voucher, they can pay less or things like that. So I think that it could help us to engage sometimes faster with our clients. So we are there for what they need, for what they need, and then we can continue talking about other steps of the process, right? So the next slide talks about the different TF-CBT components. I'm not going to read all of them. I just want you to have it all them in a slide. And the next slide, it is a graphic that you can use when you're providing TF-CBT with your clients, and they're like the different steps. I have a friend that we used to do the internship together, and she did like a letter with the different steps, and she did it with different Legos and different colors, and then she printed out the names of the different components so the kids can have one Lego go up the ladder when they accomplish each of the different steps. So there you have the picture in English, but also you have it in Spanish. So if you're providing services to Spanish-speaking clients, you can use that one too. Okay. So I will be discussing this case of a 6-year-old. We changed the name for confidentiality. Why? This is a fake name, Maya. And this girl, I would say that she was so a brilliant girl and so smart and so nice. And then I think this was one of the cases that helped me to understand how powerful this model was, because I was able to experience how powerful the TF-CBT model was in this case and with this family. So she was 6 years old, and she was living in California. As I explained before, her family was from El Salvador, but she was born in the United States. But mom only speaks Spanish, and the girl, she was bilingual. She would speak Spanish and English. She was going to first grade, and they were living in a one-bedroom apartment. And they were living also with grandmother. So the grandma was a huge support for both of them. So the reason why she was referred to receive TF-CBT was that she experienced domestic violence and also physical abuse by her father, and there was also a parent separation because she moved from another state to California, and she present several times when his father was he was drunk, right? And when he was drunk, like he used to punish her, like physical punish her, because she was crying, or because he was running around the house. And mom was a huge support for in this process of therapy, because she was really aware that she wanted to get out of this relationship, and she did several steps. She contacted Peace Over Violence. That was an agency that helped her to connect with different services, to do a safety plan, and they help her with everything, with the restriction order, moving from one state to another. So she was really thankful of the services that she received. And this also, the referral came from this agency too, so they continue to provide more support for this family. So besides that she was experiencing some trauma symptoms, she also was presenting difficulties from separating from her father. So she was like, I cannot talk to my father, I cannot see him anymore. And sometimes during the sessions, she just started crying because she missed the father. But also she recognized that she was feeling more calm, and she was feeling more happy because she also was with her grandma. So in the next slide, we can see the different clinical symptoms, and she was experiencing depressive mood, sometimes she started crying at school, and the teacher called the mom to let her know. She started crying from nowhere. I don't know what she said. She presented a lot of irritability symptoms, and mom said that she was talking back to her sometimes, that she was throwing her toys when she was bad. And sometimes inside the sessions, she talks about the flashbacks. She talks about when she used to be when she was that sometimes when she was at school, when she was sitting listening to the teacher, she just started to remember about her father, about an incident when the father was drunk and the police officer went to her house, and a lot of nightmares also. And she was presenting nightmares, I would say, like almost like 3 out of 7 days of the week. And also one of the things that I has explained before, she was grieving her dad. Like, I miss my father. I can talk to him with him on the phone, because she was able to talk to him on the phone when I started talking to her, but then it changed. I think after like the 10th session. I think that I don't remember specifically what changed, but then after that, she cannot be able to talk to her father. So I think that she was experiencing a lot of stress, and even though she was experiencing flashbacks, depression, and anxiety symptoms, she was able to keep up with the schoolwork, and she was having like all A's. I want to show you we did an assessment before and after, before the intervention and after, and we used the Youth Outcome Questionnaire and the US PTSD Reaction Index. So as you can see in this slide, this is the parent report from the Youth Outcome Questionnaire, and it asks several questions, and it includes somatic symptoms. I wanted to address the somatic symptoms because research has explained that sometimes the Latinx community could experience more somatic symptoms than other cultural groups. So she was in a 13 of somatic symptoms. As you can see, the red line is the clinical threshold. So she was above in all of the scales. And the next slide, you will see like the total score, it was 97 of all the symptoms that she was experiencing. And in this in the youth outcome questionnaire, they ask questions regarding the symptoms regarding anxiety, depression, fearfulness, if she was presenting headaches, if she was presenting stomachache. That was something that usually happened when she was at school. There, it asks about interpersonal relationship with the family, let's say with the mom and the grandma, and also with friends around the community. So when she arrived, she did not have friends. So, she started to make new friends. So that was something that was good for her. Okay, so the next slide is the UCLA PTSD Reaction Index, and we use this because part of the agency was doing like a research regarding to the effectivity of TF-CBT, and this scale, it wasn't that I choose them, it was that I need to use it because of the protocol. And okay, so here we can observe that she was experiencing in a 14. Her scores in avoidance was 7, arousal 10, and the overall PTSD total was 30. So she did not have like the diagnosis of PTSD. Her diagnosis was an adjustment disorder. So the next one was the child report. So if you can compare one and the other, they're all almost the same. And I did it in a separate, right? I first did the UCLA PTSD reaction index with the mom, and then I did the other one. I read all the questions to the girl, and they're almost alike. So we can see that there is some consistency there. And at the end, I will show you the post intervention. So the first step in psychoeducation, I think this is crucial for Latinos because we are, for let's say Puerto Rico, we are not used to being therapy, to having mental health treatment. I think that after the pandemic, people are more open to talk about stress, anxiety, and depression. But before, I think it's kind of difficult. I think one of the sayings that impacts um, Latinx to go to therapy is that there is a saying that say like los trapos sucios se lavan en casa. It's like dirty watch, like washing the dirty clothes at home, right? So it means like we cannot talk about things that happen, difficult things that happen. We talk it at home and we don't talk about it with outsiders. So this is something that holds a lot of people to go and look for mental health services. So during the psychoeducation, because my client experienced domestic violence, we use the power and control wheel, where I explained the different part of the wheel, like intimidation, emotional abuse, isolation, like reading it, and I explained what it means to her. Even though she was 6 years old, she was really bright. She read in Spanish and English, and she read in Spanish and English. So cognitive talking, she was able to process this, and then I will explain some example, and then she shared with me some of the things that happened in her house, and then knowing how father was taking control of her and mom, it was a game changer, I would say, for her and for mom, because after I teach her this, she just like, I need to call mom, she needs to know this, and she started to explain all of the concepts in the wheel, and she was like providing examples, and she was able to have introspection about what she experienced. Um, so the next slide talks about one of the cultural themes that can impact how people address mental health issues, and is fatalism. It means that things are the way they are and they cannot change. A lot of Latinos think that they experienced some trauma because they were bad, or because this is what God want for their lives. Okay, so if we can explore fatalismo, asking several questions, and also listening to what they're expressing of why domestic violence happen or why sexual abuse happen, so we can try to listen with them. If they say like things like Dios quiso que pasara, God wanted this to happen, or lo que tenía que pasar pasó, like if it needs to happen, it will happen. So we need to explore if there are some things that the clients are expressing about the trauma experience. I think one of the way that you can explore about this is like if you use the CFI cultural formulation interview, it will provide more information, and you will understand better how the person, the words that person used to express distress, or what the person used, the words that they use to express their specific problem. The next slides are different links that I want to provide, so you can have it, where you can find information in Spanish and also in English regarding psychoed. These resources are for sexual assault and traumatic stress. So you can find more information there that you can provide to the parents also when you're doing when you provide psychoeducation to the parents, because it is important to know that we need to go hand by hand. We need to work with our client, but also we need to work with the caregiver. I think that was something that helped, and that was really powerful with this case. I have other, the next slide is like different books that you can use in psychoed. There's a lot of books, right? There's some Spanish, some in English. Um, and I just want to take a break and just like, if you can write in the chat box, sorry, in the question box, if there's a specific book that you prefer to use or that you have been using with Latinx that it is powerful, that help the client to understand and to provide information about mental health. You can share it through the question box. So I will share with you this one. It's not in Spanish either, but I think with adolescents, this is really amazing. It's superhero therapy, and the author is Janina Scarlett, superhero therapy. And I think we need to create more books that are culturally responsive, because this one talks about different superheroes and how they defeat different emotions like anxiety, stress, anger, and it's a really powerful tool. Cindy, I don't know if there's some responses.
Yes. Someone said Transformation by James Gordon. Then another one's called Mammoth Waves. I don't have the author though. And that's it.
Okay. So transformation, is this in Spanish or English? I haven't heard of that one.
They also mentioned the color monster. It helps with identifying feelings.
Oh, okay, color monster. Thank you for sharing the link. Yeah. Yes, the book, it's called Superhero Therapy. Superhero Therapy. I think this book you can use it more with adolescents than with kids, because I think the adolescent will understand more than the kids. Also, I was very scared. Thank you for sharing that.
And you have one that says Seeking Safety.
Okay, Seeking Safety.
Sorry. Yeah, Seeking Safety book. Nahavides, and then Trauma Through the Child's Eyes by Peter Levine.
That's an amazing book too. Yeah, it is really good. I would say that for parents, a book that you can use is the Deepest Well. I think that books it talks about trauma so beautifully, that really simple, really engaging. Um, the writer is Nadine Burke. She's a pediatrician in California. Is the Deepest Well, Nadine Burke. I can write it down. I'm gonna write it down on the chat. Nadine Burke. Okay, great. So thank you for sharing the books that you're using to provide psychoeducation to your clients. I think that you can explore also with your clients if they love or they have a specific books that they used to enjoy, and they can bring it to the session, or they can show you through the camera where you can check it out. If there are some elements on that book that you can implement in the therapy, in the psychoeducation part too. Okay. So the next slide, I think that in the psycho ed, not only for the kids and also for the parents, we need to explore the cultural value of familismo. Okay, because usually when there is a situation, it happens within the family, or the family try to be involved, the family try to look out for support. Sometimes the family is also very different people inside the family that are taking care of the kids. Sometimes the abuela, abuelo, el tío. Sometimes they are living together in the same house. So exploring familismo, I think, is really helpful, because this could be a strength, right? It could be a strength, or it could be something that we need to work inside the therapy, right? Because if the perpetrator was the father in this case, it hurts the girl a lot, because he was the father, and because of this value of familismo, it could be impacted by that experience. So we can reach out to the family and look out if who is part of the family, who provides support in the family, who inside the family the kid or the youth can talk to, that to help them to learn about managing their emotions, or they can spend some time out to feel more relaxed. And the other value is personalism. So when we talk about personalismo, I think sometimes people, it is difficult to understand what it means, but I would say, like, I know that a lot of you are doing personalismo with your clients. And how we can know if we're using personalismo or not is when your client go to your office and he start asking you questions regarding, like, oh, where are you from? Oh, do you speak Spanish, or why do you speak Spanish? And you start providing information to them about, like, yes, I'm from Puerto Rico. Yes, I speak Spanish. I learned in Puerto Rico. I was raised in Puerto Rico. So they will know more about you, right? And sometimes I would say clinicians are scared of talking about themselves, but I think with Latino we need to talk about some things that are going to be helpful for the client, just like where are you from, or where do you learn Spanish, or why do you speak Spanish and English, um, because that helps the client to feel more comfortable. It helps with trust, because they can see you as a person, they can see you as a human, right? And they will feel more comfortable if you share, like, um, different things regarding your culture, let's say. And the other part of personalismo is when we have our clients that start to inviting us to different activities, weddings, birthdays, when they start providing gifts, like there's a cake for you, or there's like a teddy bear that I want to give you. So I know that it's difficult, and we need to um, talk about that when we are starting to provide the therapy to our Latinx clients before starting therapy, right? It is really important to talk about it, because I used to do home-based treatment, and when you go to the homes, like everybody, ¿quieres café? Hice una galleta, right? They're gonna ask you if you want to, and you will need to check out why they're doing it, because mostly they're doing it as a way to say thank you for being here, thank you for coming to my home, thank you for the services that you're providing to my kid. So we need to be aware of the meaning behind it. Okay, the next component is the relaxation component. I think this is one of my favorite, because I always like to do, just like at the beginning of this presentation, the deep breathing, or let's take a break, let's stretch, let's go for a walk, because I think this is really important. We need to be aware, like if our client is presenting a lot of anxiety, of a lot of stress, they're not gonna process anything that we're saying. They were not memorize things. They were not practice what we are teaching them. So it is important for them to feel more relaxed, so they can process everything that we are working with. Sometimes it depends on the client. If the client is experiencing difficulties acknowledging emotion or understanding the meaning of the emotions, I will start with affect regulation, because I will provide to them the vocabulary that they can help them to relax themselves, right? But if I have a client that is really like angry or really stressed or really anxious, I will start with relaxation and then go through the other components, okay? So for the case, for this Maya's case, I use deep breathing, and I use progressive muscle relaxation, and we use the example of the cooked spaghetti and uncooked spaghetti, right? The cooked spaghetti, it's more like wibbly, like, and then the other one is more stiff. Or other examples that you can use that I was thinking about is like the rice. You can use cooked rice or uncooked rice, or you can use noodles, cooked noodles, fideos, and tortillas, as an example of what it means to relax and what it means to tense a specific muscle in our body, right? In this area, I think we need to talk about prayer because spiritualism is a cultural value that is really present in a lot of Latinos, right? It depends also on the level of acculturation of the families that we're working with, but we can explore that a lot of Latinos that have this value of spiritualismo, they use a prayer as a way to calm down. So if they use prayer, we need to explore if they use this so we can continue to let them know that they can use it. It is if it is helpful for them. We can go to the next slide. And also, I want to point it out that I try to explore first what my client used to relax themselves, because if it is something that they're using that helps them, let's say that they used to walk through, to go to a walk, and they use it and it's helpful for them, I will say I will explore that first, and then if they haven't used deep breathing or grounding exercises or music, I will start to talk about that, to talk to them about how it can be helpful, and sometimes how neurologically how that will help them, so they can actually see it. So we can observe that some of the families that present this spirituality value, they could sometimes be reluctant, like they don't want to practice the yoga part. Some of them yes, some of them no. And this comes from the value of the spirituality, because some of them could see that yoga is like another religion, that it comes from another religion, and I cannot practice it because it is a sin. We can try to explore with them how they feel about practicing yoga, or we can also, I try to use it as I explain to them, okay, let's use meditation, meditación. And I explain to them, like, meditation, meditación, you can use it when you're reading the Bible, there's a specific verse that you like, you can think about that, and that's called meditation. Maybe you can use that. Let's try it if it works for you, and also for the kids or for the mom, we can try it out. So it is important because the spirituality, it could be a risk factor, but also it could be a protective factor for the family. The next line, there's several resources that you can use to continue to practice some relaxation. The first one is Cosmic Kids Yoga. I love this one, and the kids love it because the presenters were different yogas, and we use different movies like Moana and Frozen, and the kids love it. They will enjoy it. And there are some apps that you can also download, or your clients can download, to practice different relaxation skills. And the next component is the affective expression and regulation, right? And this part, it's about providing an emotional vocabulary to our clients so they can understand what it means, a specific emotion, let's say frustration, right? What is frustration? I don't know what is frustration, ¿verdad? ¿Qué es frustración? No lo sé, no sé qué significa. So I start by one and try to explain to them, like, okay, frustration, let's look for the definition. Let's go to a dictionary. So it means when things doesn't go the way that you expect to go. So, oh, there are some examples that you can provide to me. Okay, when this happened, when I was thinking to get an A and I got an F, and things like that. So I think this is so powerful, and there's some words in Spanish that if the person's talking Spanish, sometimes you cannot understand. Let's say, like, if you only speak English, right? But we need to help our clients to express their emotions in their primary language, or when if they experienced trauma when they were living in Santo Domingo and they were talking in Spanish and the experience was in Spanish, you can help them to express themselves in Spanish, and then you can let them know, okay, now you can translate to me so I will understand a little bit more about what do you mean, right? And it's okay to do it that way. So if they express their emotions in Spanish, um, let them express their emotion in Spanish because it is helpful for them. So depending on the country where the clients are from, they will use different words to express anger. I have these two examples. Let's say estoy por el techo o me saca el monstruo. This is the two examples that from Puerto Rico as a way to express that I'm really angry, that I'm really angry that something happened. So there's other expressions. So one I want to share with you is this is from Dominican Republic. It's like me estás guillando de mala manera. So it's like you're making me really really mad. So this expression of people that are saying like I'm getting angry. And the other one is me tienes la sangre hasta la cabeza. It's like you're boiling my, like some kind of boiling my blood. And it's like the person like feels hot or their face is red because they're so angry. So we need to be aware of how our clients express, define, and label their emotions. And during the TF-CBT treatment, you can try also normalize those feelings, because I think this is huge. We need to normalize and validate those emotions. So with Maya, she draw different faces like emojis and drew different faces, and then she explained to me how she was feeling. Another tool that you can use is the pie of emotions. I think that is really helpful. Or the other one is like to draw like a heart, and then you can divide that heart depending on the percent of the emotions that you're feeling. Let's say if the person can draw the heart and divide it, like half of my emotions are anger and half of my emotions are sadness. So then you can talk about that in the therapy session. I think that's really useful, and the kids enjoy to do that. I think with the older kids, it depends if they like to draw or not. You can use it. Sorry. And the other one that I used was there's some stuffed animals with different faces, and also the use of the thermometer. With Latinos, I would say there's so much invalidation in our culture that you cannot be angry, you cannot feel sad, you cannot feel angry. So what I try to do through the session is to normalize those emotions, to normalize that everyone can feel sad, and it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to feel angry, right, and feel worried. So the client can feel more comfortable that it's okay to feel that. And then after they acknowledge them, I try to talk to them about like, okay, let's find out why you're feeling this way. Okay, after you validate those emotions, let's try to find, do you want to try something that could help you feel better, or how I can help you to feel better, what we can do together in the session. And I always try to talk to the parents about what it was happening in the session, right? Because they're aware and they can continue to practice the skills that I'm teaching the kids in the session, so they can continue practicing them at home. The next one,
Okay, yeah. I was talking about respect. So this cultural value, I think, impacts a lot of our relationships as Latino with other people, with older adults, with our parents and grandparents, because respect is a way we can communicate with others, and if the way we express ourselves Sometimes our parents could for them it could be like you're not being respectful. So as an example, we can have clients, let's say adolescents that have difficulties in their relationship with their parents because maybe parents feel that they are not respected. Um, they are not, they don't have their respect, just like when maybe the kid is talking back to them, when maybe they are correcting what they are saying, or because they are not doing the house chores. So things like that could be the parents or the caregiver could see it as the kid is not being respectful. So this value, we need to check it out, what respect means in this family. What respect means for the parents and what respect means for the kids. Because sometimes it's really different meaning. Usually when kids want to, I want to let her know that I'm angry, and she will say, no me faltes el respeto, no me puedes hablar así. So it's something that impacts the relationship between them, and we need to try to find ways how our clients can express their emotions in a way that could be respectful to their parents, but also that they can express what they are feeling. So Marianismo is another cultural theme, using the image of Virgin Mary as the ideal image, right? That woman needs to be pure. Woman cannot be angry, cannot feel or express their anger. So this impact the affective expression of themselves because they're going to feel like scared, they think that they cannot share what they're actually feeling with other people around. So this impacts our therapy sessions with them, because if they're feeling that way, if their parents are saying you cannot feel angry, they will not share those emotions with us inside the therapy sessions. So we need to explore the if the clients are experiencing or having this thing, this cultural value. The next one is machismo, and when we talk about machismo, it have two connotations, like being responsible and provider, but the other one is like to use violence um, to approach in a violent way, and to mistreat other people. And when we talk with children, with boys and young adolescents, usually if their family have this value where men cannot cry, men cannot express their emotions, men cannot be sad, it will impact also how the therapy goes. So how we can explore this? We can use like in direct way. We can use different cuentos, or we can use different short from different movies, like trailers or specific movie, so they cannot feel like threatened, right? And then we need to validate and validate those emotions and check out how our client express different emotions, like sadness, or when the boy is crying, what we need to explore what the parents do when he cries, what they say to him, because then we can add um, some skills there that we can let their parents know that it's okay to express their feelings, and people express their feelings in different ways. Okay, so in cognitive coping, here with the case that I had, we use the cognitive triangle to explain the connection between thoughts and feelings and behaviors. And usually when you're working with a Latino, in this part, I think it's a lot of fun with the kids, because you can use cuentos or dichos to explain and to do sorry, to explain different topics and how to reframe different thoughts and feelings and behaviors. So they can have like more adaptive behaviors and thoughts and feelings. So for example, cuentos, there's cuento therapy. Cuentos is like short stories or folk stories, which include different cultural themes. And one of the cuentos that we have here on the next slide is the Little Red Ant. Yes, that one. Thank you. The Little Red Ant is a short story, and this short story is in the TF-CBT book in chapter 10. Talks about a little ant that she thought she cannot carry a cake, but people around her say that they cannot help her. So at the end, she was able to do it. So this one explains how when we think in a specific way and then we do something else, we can change the way we thought, and also that her capacity, that she had more capacity than she actually know that she had. So there's different short stories that you can add through the session that are culturally relevant for your clients, and also depending of the age of the client. The chapter have 2 more stories that you can check it out too. So then when using dichos are sayings that you can use it in several areas of the TF-CBT components. You can use it as a way to provide psychoeducation, and when I use it to provide psychoeducation, I try to explore what are the sayings that you usually have at home or that your family usually say. And then you need to check it out if those you can implement them in the cognitive processing, if they are helpful or if they are not helpful at all. Okay, so some of the maybe helpful details that we can implement is this one, that después de la tormenta llega la calma. After a storm comes a calm, o Dios ayuda a los que se ayudan a sí mismo. I think sometimes it's difficult to translate them, but God helps those who help themselves. So these are sayings that help the client and the person to have hope for the future, right? To see there are difficult things that I went through, but there are gonna be new things that could be good for my life, for my family. So the dishes, you can check it out because not all families use dishes, but if it is something that the family use, you can need to take advantage of them because it can provide hope to the family, but also can help us understand how they see the specific problem. I use this technique with one client that she experienced sexual abuse by her father. She was from Guatemala, and she shared with me un dicho, el que mucho se ausenta pronto deja de hacer falta. In English, it's like long absent, soon forgotten. And she used this one as a way to explain that when she was living in Guatemala, her mom wasn't there for her. And also that his father was in the United States. So she did not have any relationship with them. So she used this as a way to explain that, yes, they are my parents, but I don't need them. Like, they're not there for me. The one, another family member was there for her to support her. So try to explore different niches in the families that you're working with, because there are several books also that you can look out that have the dicho in English and Spanish, and also that provides the description of what it means. The next slide, there are different books that you can use and YouTube links where you can you can use when you're providing this component, cognitive coping. You can check it out. This is for all of you. And the next slide talks about the trauma narrative development and processing. During the trauma narrative with the client, with Maya, one thing is that we try to talk about domestic violence, and we talk about that we're gonna be working with the trauma narrative since the beginning. Okay, I let them know since the beginning, and also I let the mom know. One of the things that I think that we need to try to be aware of and talk to the parents, it's like when we are working through the trauma narrative, the clients can start experiencing more stress, or can start experiencing more nightmares, or can start experiencing more anger outbursts. So I let them know beforehand so they are aware, and then they can continue to practicing the different relaxation skills and coping skills. So in this session, you can also add cuentos that are almost like the situation that your client experienced, or also you can check it out in some YouTube videos, because they can help the client to process, they can help the client to feel like they're not the only one that experienced this awful situation or event. So you can add it to this area. And how I did it, I let my client know, okay, the first chapter, we just want to talk about things that you like, things that you enjoy, who are you? And then the second chapter, we can talk about a happy moment, something that happened to you that you really enjoyed. I think we can go to the next slide, Cindy, so we can see the drawing. That one, thank you. So with my client, she was able to draw. She had the paper, and she wrote down a happy memory. For this one, it was she was playing video, and she won the big prizes, right? And then after that, I let her know that if she can provide to me, or she can share one of the reminders or an event that was really difficult for her, or that was really sad for her. And then she shared on the next slide, she shared an event when her father got her, and left. The father closed the door, left the mom outside, and it was really cold outside. So she was really scared because that happened, and she didn't know what to do, or why his father was doing that. And while you're doing the trauma narrative, you can check it out. And the last chapter is more like how you can do, or what you can let other people know if they went through things like this. And this girl was so bright, and she wrote things in Spanish and things in English. She know how to write in Spanish and English. That she was only 6 years old. Like, I was amazed. So if your clients prefer to process their trauma narrative in Spanish, encourage them to do it. Or in English, encourage them to do it. But when you're having the session with the parents, if the parents only speak Spanish, you can translate to them, or if you can translate also what they did in a Google document, things like that, then you can have the session with the father or mother, and so they can be aware of what the trauma narrative said. And the next slide talks about what we did after that. She let me know since the beginning that she experienced a lot of fear to police officers, and she don't want to see them. And it was because several times the police officer went to her house, so she was really scared of them. And what we did, I connect with a police officer. He was a Latino Spanish speaking police officer, and he was able to go to the agency. And I let her know, okay, the week before, I let her know, okay, so next week, you know that el policía va a venir y vamos a hablar con él. And I let her know, I want you to be I want you to interview a police officer. You think you can do that? Do you want to ask him specific questions? So, and she let me know. We wrote down the questions. And then on the next session, she was like sitting on my chair, and the police officer was next to her, and she was asking several questions like, why you're a police officer and what police officers do. She was so excited to know him. And she was able to decrease that fear to police officers because he was really nice. He was smiling. He was talking in Spanish and English, and the mom also was in the office. So she feel after this experience, she feel more relieved that she knows the police officer and what they do. That they're here to protect people. So she was able to understand that. It was a wonderful session. The next one is the conjoint parent-child sessions. I usually do conjoint sessions through all the components. And I explain to mom what we are doing so the mom, Maya's mom, can continue to practice them at home. One of the things that we need to be really aware when we are working with the parents, we need to check it out. What are the norms inside the house? What is okay inside the house? What are the childbearing techniques that they use? Because we need to work from there. We cannot say to the parent, okay, you're gonna put the kid in timeout when she do this or that, if the parent does not use timeout or does not like to use timeout. So we need to check it out which childbearing techniques they use so we can implement them or modify them. And then the next slide, enhancing safety and future development. Here is we emphasize that the value of respect. I will touch the value of respect because usually with respect, you cannot say no to elders. You cannot say no to mom or dad. And we need to let them know that it's not okay when someone wants to touch their bodies. It's not okay when someone want them to do something that they're not feeling comfortable with. So explain to them like respeto, it means like respect our family, but also that when somebody wants to touch your body, you need to say no. Okay, that there are moments that we need to say no, and it's okay. So I want to talk about that value because I know that it's difficult for a lot of kids to say no, maybe to a tío or tía, because they can feel that they have been disrespectful. So it is important to talk about respeto, what is respeto and what is not respeto. After we did all the sessions and we did like a celebration at the end, we did like, I let her know like what you want to do for our last session. And I know sometimes it is really difficult to say goodbye. One of the things that I try to do is to explain to her like I was like a teacher in the kind of way like when you are in first grade and you have in school and you're learning, you finish like come June, you finish because you go to another step, you go to second grade, right? You finish first grade and you go to second grade. So in kind of way, I use that analogy to let her know like she's growing, like she's more in charge of her emotions, right? So she goes to the next step as a way to say goodbye. And we did like a parade that last session, and she said that she wants tamales. And I bought some tamales. I gave her like a copy of the things that she learns in psychotherapy, and also a diploma of her accomplishments. After those sessions, as we can see, we can go to the youth outcome questionnaire. So you can see that before and after. This family was able to implement the cognitive skills and was able to be, they were really consistent with therapy sessions. So as you can see, their symptoms decrease. Okay, some of them, like the somatic symptom, from 13 to 0. And I was really impressed with these results. And the next slide, we can see the total score. It went from 97 to 60. On the UCLL PTSD reaction index, also the symptoms decrease. As you can see in the total PTSD scale, it went from 30 to 11. And I think we did like almost 20 sessions with this client. And the next slide, we can see the responses from the child. From 13 to 1, we're experiencing avoidance A to 0. So one of the things that she was avoiding was the police officer. So that's one. Now 0 at the end. And the other, yeah, and I think it's helpful to see it. Sometimes if we don't have like an assessment measure, we cannot see it, but I think this is really helpful. There's in the next slide, there are some resources, the telehealth resources in Spanish. There have a lot of resources there that you can use. It's so amazing. I use it with my clients. They have resources throughout the different components of the TF-CBT. They have it in English and also in Spanish. So you need to go there. The other one is the libro de actividades TF-CBT, and then el cuaderno para adolescentes. Those ones are in Spanish that you can see. You can use it throughout the session. The next one is like there is some certification in TF-CBT that you can obtain, and there is a book that is a really good book. So they have a chapter how to use CBT inside school settings, and the TF-CBT Web 2.0 training. It is the basic training that they provide to you, a certification and everything. It's really good. I think we need to continue to learn more and enhance in our skills when we are providing services. So I would say thank you to all of you. If you have any questions, and also the next slide, it's my contact information. I'm really happy to be sharing all this information with all of you. And I hope that this webinar help you to continue to enhance what you're already doing. And for those ones that are providing services to Latinx, I would say thank you, because there's few providers that are out there providing services to Latinx. So thank you for that. You can contact me if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have resources also in Spanish or English that are helpful, you can share them. And if you also need technical assistance for your agency, we are here to help you, right? The National Hispanic and Latino Mental Health Technology Transfer Center provide training to mental health providers that serve Hispanic and Latinos, and the services are for free. And we are providing also technical assistance and webinars. It can include also target technical assistance. So reach out to us if you have any questions, if you need more support, we're here for you.
Thank you, Isa. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the questions that we have.
Yes.
Well, we don't have much time, so I don't want to extend ourselves beyond the time we schedule. But we
Sure.
do have a couple of questions. One of them is, has TF-CBT been used with the Latinx groups too? I'm assuming they're asking about the LGBTQ plus.
Oh, okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I need to check it out for research regarding LGBTQ because I actually don't know what I can say. I will say yes, but I don't have. I will say I don't have the actual research with me that I can point it out so you can go. So what are the things that you can do? Like if you can share your email, I can check it out and send that information to you.
Thank you, Isa. Another question
Sure.
says, what language in Spanish might you use to bridge the concepts of Marianismo and Machismo in work with caregivers to elicit the perspective of the presence of these terms in their lives?
Okay. So in Spanish? In
I
Spanish?
guess, yeah.
Okay. So, I was saying in Spanish, una de las cosas que, como lo puedes hacer es proveer, decirle, sabes que muchas veces en nuestra cultura creemos unas cosas que están relacionadas a cómo nos criaron a nosotros y muchas de estas prácticas están relacionadas a los aspectos de la religión. Por ejemplo, eh, puede ocurrir en que en la casa es bien importante, tienen unos roles bien específicos, como por ejemplo, la mujer es de la casa, la mujer tiene que limpiar, la mujer tiene que cuidar de sus hijos, la mujer tiene que servirle la comida al hombre y estar preparada para el hombre. Y a veces eso está ligado o está relacionado con nuestra cultura y específicamente con los aspectos de la religión. Y cómo hay aspectos que pueden ser de ayuda para nosotros y hay aspectos que no nos ayudan, nos influyen en nuestra salud mental, nos lastiman, nos denigran, y esos son los que nosotros pues, tenemos que hablar. ¿Cuáles son las cosas que tú puedes modificar, o cuáles son las cosas que tú te sientes cómoda con? Right? Just providing this explanation in Spanish, but it's like mostly like to check out with the clients and let them know where it came from. Like Marianismo is a cultural value where they see like Virgin Mary as a role model, like every woman needs to be like that, like pure, like to serve the men, to be there, to be submissive. And we need to provide information. Where does it came from? Why this is happening? And check it out. Like if there's a way that we can modify this, or are things that are making that are happening in your house that are making you feeling really bad, stressed, sad, and how we can work together to modify that.
Thank you, Isa. I'm going to do one more question.
Sure.
I think this one might be really helpful. It says, I'm wondering about the use of spirituality in a Catholic Latino family where the child I am working with has severe stress and anxiety about going to hell or upsetting God. We've tried challenging these beliefs for over a year and he can't shake them. Mom insists she does not use that kind of talk at home with him.
Okay. Wow, that was an amazing question because I think one of the way that we can try to help this kid is like, let's try to, like, if you can connect the family with a priest or a pastor, where I know there are different pastor or priest that are really good or other that are not good. But if you can find out in a community a pastor that this family trusts or a priest that the family trusts, and go there and talk to them about who he is and things like that, because they can explain things and ask, they can ask questions to the priest and things like that that could help them feel more relief. Because I think that thinking that he's gonna go to hell, that he's gonna upset God, I think that this kid is experiencing a lot of anxiety, and I think that's really sad. But one way is to connect with a priest and check it out if they can sit down and have a conversation about why he thinks that.
Thank you, Isa. I also wanted to say someone shared
Sure.
a link, a YouTube link, and I think it's
Yes.
in Spanish. It says that it's an informational video that could be used to explain in Spanish adverse events in childhood and informative care, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in trauma. There you go. So I shared
Great.
that on the chat for everyone as well. And I think that's all we have. I also wanted to share the next slide. If you haven't, you can still sign up for our next events with today's co-sponsored community partners of South Florida and Phyllis and Harvey Sandler School of Social Work. You can also go to our websites. We already have this event posted if you want to register for those. And once again, remind you that it is very important that you fill out our survey for today's presentation because it's what helps us keep doing this type of event free. Isa, I don't know if you want to say something else before we go.
No, I just want to say thank you, Cindy, for your support there, and thank you everyone for your patience and for waiting for me. Have a nice day, everyone.
Yes, thank you, and have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.